Here you are again at Onyx Void, back in the YouTubes, back in the AI cycle that's here to collect your data point for the day. Once again, getting up before the sun, before the construction workers, before the landscapers. Not early enough, of course. Not early enough to receive any kind of work. And just missed it. The dwindling pool of work that eludes you. So you just aren't fast enough. You just don't want it bad enough. And it is the season. It's the season to lose work. Unless you're, of course, gotten that cool employee contract where you get PTO, you get paid holidays off, and that's not the case for most of us. And even if you did, you probably work at Taco Bell. You probably work at a service job where even if you got those days off, even if you got those days paid off, getting those days off is probably the worst part. And it's generally voluntary if you're not low in the totem pole. But generally, you're going to have to work those days whether you want to or not, because you're living on the edge. You're barely making it. You're possibly working 2 jobs just to stay afloat, if not borrowing money. And your second job may be YouTube. And you may be like me, asking for a like and subscribe so you can turn YouTube into a job. Not a full-time job, but just, something to say that YouTube was an employee of yours. You were a YouTuber, because every penny counts in this economy. But if you're the unlucky few to be out here with no PTO, with no fallback plan, you're stuck with maybe roommates. You're stuck with maybe leaning on credit cards. But I'm going to circle back to the roommate point again. But I'm out here talking into the void again because I want to do something. Because I got nothing else to do but to get online anyways and maybe go for a walk every now and then just to step away from the computer. By the by, my computer's been acting erratically. It did a little thing where the mouse stopped working, and me knowing just a little bit about cybersecurity, that freaks me out. So this plays into the part where why I built a separate system to record my videos, or at least the audio for my video. That way I don't lose the data. Because when my computer starts acting like that erratically, the first thing I'm going to do is erase the entire hard drive and check the BIOS, or UEFI as they call it, and start all over. I intentionally keep the hard drive down to 64 gigabytes because I assumed that at some point, with all the malware, viruses, trojans, slackware, blah blah blah, all the things that can affect your computer is eventually going to happen, especially now with AI producing those viruses. Now, I have this roommate. Circling back to the roommate problem. This roommate, he doesn't know what to do with his life. It's the end of the year, and like a lot of people, he's been out of work for quite some time. Almost a year now. And his whole life now is waking up at 4 in the morning, connecting to the Wi-Fi because his phone's been turned off because, well, for non-payment, and watching YouTube. And he'll watch YouTube for a few hours, then he'll get on his PC and he'll continue watching YouTube and messing around for 12 so hours. Maybe he'll put in a few applications. Maybe he'll argue with the AI, the actual Indians on the other side of the world or in some server somewhere, trying to get a job or whatever. And then the sun will go down and he'll jump back in bed and he'll get back on his phone and watch YouTube. A train. How industrious today. A train. His phone's not connected once again, so he can't call anybody. So everything's through the internet now, and that's life for him. Just being connected to this void, going through ghost jobs that don't exist. It's interesting. It's interesting to watch somebody go through the process. A process I refuse to go through, by the way. If I'm going to pick a job, A, it better be a well-known job. B, if it's not a well-known job, I'm not choosing it. If there's no, you already know, if there's no, I can say it, price on it, like if the job's just open for discussion on how much they're going to pay you, or they just don't put like a pay rate at any point, which is why I'm there for the job, then I'm not going to choose it. I'm not going to pick it. I'm not going to try. And that should just be the standard. Sorry about that. But this is life now. Just one gig after another, searching for a few shekels and hoping not to end up on the streets. But that brings me to the main topic of this video, which is providing a service. Now, you don't necessarily need to go to an employer to provide a service. We know that. But let's get an idea of what services are to be provided. What could I provide? Now, I briefly went over that in a previous video. But yeah, in VTuber, open source VTuber framework probably wouldn't get me. I gotta say it. Probably wouldn't get me. It wouldn't make me money. It'd be open source. It'd be free. It'd be under the MIT license. But it would give me recognition if it got popular enough. What people say, write books, create a course. I'm okay at coding. Could I create a course on coding? Other people have. Why not, right? I guess if you know enough JavaScript and Python, anything's possible. But I'm not great at the front end, so. And plus, there's plenty of coding courses out there. Well, you got one from Low Level, you got one from boot.dev, you got the old ones, Codemy, W3 Schools, all kinds of others. You know the names. So, why jump into a saturated market? Is the question. And do I have time to do that? That's always the biggest thing. What keeps people, like my roommate, coming back to getting a occupation under somebody to trade their time for currency is that they don't have time. They don't think they have time. They don't think they have time. They don't see that they have time to create their own form of work, their own products. What they see right now is that the quickest way, because you've been taught your whole life from the bottom up, the quickest way to trade your time for currency is to go work under somebody else. But that framework is quickly becoming obsolete. And I've dabbled in, if I mentioned in my previous videos, I dabbled in, freelancing, self-employment. And it's awkward at first. It's hard to go up to somebody and offer them a service out of the blue. It's hard to cold call people because there's an inevitable, am I disturbing this person? Am I contacting somebody that has all these blocks in the road to stop you from actually selling your service to them, like no soliciting clauses, no soliciting signs, all these laws and regulations to get in your way from you actually providing a service that somebody probably needs. It'll probably solve their problem. That's the whole crux of providing a service, other than AI, is to solve, AI in general, is to solve somebody's problems. Somebody has a problem, you create a solution and you give it to them. But that's really the hardest part. Making a solution is hard, but actually selling the solution is even harder. That's why salesmen are always top dollar. A good salesman is always top dollar because actually penetrating the market, as they call it, is the hardest part because of all the roadblocks that have been put in. And plus, there's always competition. Well, there's generally competition. You're generally not the first person on the market. You're generally not the first person there. But in general, there's competition. And these people that would need the solution, they've already heard of this. They've already probably gone through this song and dance, 1,000 times already. And the bottom just fall out from beneath them, or they just don't have the time, currency, or energy to invest into the system that you're trying to employ on them, the solution that you're trying to employ on them. And there's all kinds of market eccentricities like that just stop the flow of providing a good solution to some people's problems, on top of just penetrating the market in general and producing the solution to begin with. But that's enough of my rambling for today. Into the void. I hope the YouTubes, I got enough data points here. Once again, I've said nothing new, said nothing revolutionary. If you dig deep enough into the YouTubes, you'll find other people saying something like this, probably explained a lot better. But that's my take on it. if you guys would like to, if you guys found any value in this, you vibe with this, you just like hearing me yap, leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you the next time in the void that is YouTube in the next video.